He's well known for being a politician. Joe Stanhope, a former logger, is the chairman of the regional district of Nanaimo and represents Area G. What most people don't know about Joe are his hobbies away from the RDN board table. Stanhope and his wife live on 10 acres in French Creek. Maintaining this land is a huge job, but Joe rolls up his sleeves and takes care of business.
Okay, we're all set. We were totally dependent on ourselves when we lived here in 1942, and of course you had to supply yourself with everything, firewood. Of course, everybody heated with firewood, and of course they cooked with firewood. The lawn, I have a big garden. I have a huge garden. You need the rototiller for the garden, and of course grass cutting. Really, you have to be able to look after yourself or help your neighbor, and so that's what it's all about.
Stanhope gets lots of use out of his grader, which he predicts dates back to the early 1900s. What good is a reporter standing around for? Joe put me to work.
Okay, so what's up and what's down here, Joe? Like,
well, even a guy like you can figure out that pretty quick.
Well, I hope so. I think I got the hang of this thing.
Down on this edge, Ian.
It's pretty neat the way it actually, thing over 100 years old, actually properly grades this road, smooths out from potholes, removing snow. That's pretty cool, Joe.
Here's my fire department.
Stanhope says taking care of yourself is something he takes pride in. He even has his own mini fire department, which includes a water tank and 2 large hoses.
We did have a fire one time. I've only used it once. The other time I used my pump was to pump out somebody's flooded basement.
It takes over 5 hours for Stanhope to mow his lawn. Gardening is another labor of love, along with cutting down dying trees, collecting firewood, and making walking trails.
It's a vast property here on the waterfront in French Creek, 10 acres, and there's a lot of maintenance to do. So at 80 years old, Joe Stanhope doesn't need to be doing all this work. So the big question for him, all this maintenance, why?
It's fun, but you got to keep busy.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you're going to lose it, Ian. Yeah. That's that simple. And if you don't use your noggin, you're going to lose that too. So I think I've got a good balance between my physical activity here and my mental ability at the board table.
Don't expect Joe Stanhope to check into a retirement home anytime soon. His to-do list is too long. In Nanaimo, I'm Ian Holmes.
Welcome to another edition of Head On here on Shaw TV, delving into the issues that really matter around our central Vancouver Island communities. And today, something a little bit different, the plight of amateur and junior sports. We have an unstable economy, increasing costs for sports organizations, and an increasing cost of living for the people here on the island and across the province of BC. And it's leading to a real squeeze for amateur and junior sports that rely on ticket sales and sponsorships to stay afloat. And a couple of guests who know firsthand all about amateur sports and some of the challenges and hopefully some solutions moving forward. I understand there's a multimedia package that's being put together. That's part of the strategy. There's other components as well. Let our viewers know a little bit about the business attraction strategy. What are the nuts and bolts? How will this thing come together, and how ultimately do you attract some of these lifestyle entrepreneurs and others to come into the Parksville-Qualicum region to help diversify the economy?
Okay, well, yes, there are some multimedia.
I was told today, we were told in our newsroom from a source directly involved with the BCHL that not one team in the BCHL made money last year. They all lost money. That is not a recipe for success moving ahead. Dom, from your perspective, being so entrenched with the VI Raiders organization, now with the Oceanside Generals as their play-by-play voice, what are you seeing as the challenges really inflicting on these organizations?
Well, it's not surprising to hear you say what you just said.
Thank you.
That's Kim Burden. He's the executive director of the Parksville and District Chamber of Commerce, leading the Oceanside Initiative's effort. Really appreciate him for coming on. This has been another edition of Head On here on Shaw TV. Tune in next time for another exciting edition right here on Shaw.